Hi everyone, this is Trish Kendall, your host for the Choose and Become interview series. People around the world ask me to share more of my journey to enduring success, more stories, more of my lessons, more of my experiences. There's only so much I can share during an inspirational speech or while facilitating a workshop or even through blogs. So here you go. In these Trish Kendall Speaks episodes, I give you short, impromptu, candid, raw me. Come along with me as I continue my journey to enduring success. Hi everyone, this is Trish Kendall with the Trish Kendall Speaks episode. One of the questions that I get consistently is, Trish, how did you create your professional success? How did you become so professionally successful? Now, there's a lot in there to unpack. I'm going to try, and I'll just have multiple episodes where I focus on my path to professional success. And first, I want to ground and anchor on the definition of how did you become so professionally successful? Now, most of the time when people ask me that question, I believe they're coming from the place of my what's on paper: title, role, income, prestige, etc. And I totally acknowledge that that's a fair statement because fair thinking, because I went from having a needle plunged in my arm to kill myself. 3 years later, in 1997, my earnings put me in the 1% of the country in terms of earnings. And there hasn't been a year since then that I have not achieved or earned being in the 1% bracket. That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal if you only look at it from an income standpoint. I grew up poor, on welfare. I only have a high school degree. I obviously, this community knows, was a crystal meth addict. I stole, I lied, all the things, all the bad, terrible, awful things. And then when I made the choice on April 22nd, 1994, to pick up the phone when my sister called, that was the first choice that then led me to where I'm at today. And so if we focus on professional success, yes, absolutely, being in the 1% of the country in terms of income is absolutely a success. But that's not how I define my professional success. And my professional success really the definition of success has changed and evolved over time. Hold on, I got to drink my tea because it's a little bit cold in my house. Although Joe is putting on the heat more often now, it's winter. We usually we have a wood insert fire, and a wood insert fireplace. Yeah, that's what it's called. And so truly his favorite thing to do is chop wood and put the wood in the fireplace and keep it nice and hot. I'm digressing. But anyways, so the last couple of days it's been 50 degrees outside. So there's no fire in the fireplace, but the house is really cold. So my definition of professional success absolutely has evolved over time. I'm going to take you through some of that evolution, and then I'll also have additional episodes to dive into the stories of how I got to each point. So first, my first definition of professional success is when I actually got a job at Gold's Gym in Killeen, Texas. That was my first point of success. And my definition there is they hired me. They hired me. I was in Colleen with my sister and her husband. We were in that two-way agreement, that contractual agreement. I had recovered from crystal meth, or I should say I was in my recovery, because recovery lasts probably a lifetime. And at that point, I needed a job. I needed some money, and I needed some wins underneath my belt to show that I wasn't completely dependent on my sister and David, financially, emotionally, the whole thing. And so that first point of success is when the owner of Gold's Gym in Colleen, Texas, hired me first to be the receptionist, and then asked me later to be a salesperson there. And there's stories all around that, and then I'll get into some of those stories. But that was the first point of success. And then from there, then my definition of success evolved and changed professionally when the consulting firm that came into Gold's Gym, American Club Systems, to help this independent franchisee owner sell more memberships, put more framework and structure and process and training around selling. I had the opportunity to work with ACS when they came in, because they were helping the sales team. And then ACS eventually asked me to be on their team and to travel around to what is called pre-sales. There's a story all in that. But that point of success for me professionally was that, oh my gosh, the Gold's Gym owner was opening up new gyms, and this ACS consulting firm was helping them do that. And they asked me to go and be a part of the pre-sale team. The success there is that they trusted me and asked me and wanted me to be part of that team. And I wasn't making shit, no money. Okay. This was an hourly job, no health insurance. I can't even, I'm sure I was below poverty level, because I lived with my sister and David, so they helped me with all the things. So there was no money here at all, but I was successful. To me, at that point, if somebody would have said, Trish, how did you become so professionally successful? I would have believed, like I would have been like, yeah, I am professionally successful. Oh my God, how did I go from being on a bathroom floor, almost killing myself with crystal meth, to being the person that they asked to be a part of the 5-person team to go out and open these new gyms? So that was a point of success. And then just keep going. We'll keep going with my overall definition and evolution of professional success. Then it evolved to independence, being what I would say at the time financially independent. I was not at the 1% of the country yet, but I was earning enough in this pre-sale job. And then the company paid for, I lived out of a motel. I ate fast food. It was terrible. But I could leave my sister and David in Killeen, Texas, and go and travel and be a part of this working, traveling team. And that provided me this feeling of independence. I was independent. I was able to go and do and make decisions that this job afforded me that. And so that was a point of success. Okay. But then we're going to leap ahead. And the other next point of success was actually getting into money. And in 1996, and there's, again, I tell you all this, there's a story around this too. In 1996, I had made my way to Chicago as a part of this pre-sale team. And I was opening up, helping with pre-sales for this women's only gym in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. It was called Corey Aberson's. And I'm giving you a little bit of a story before I give you my point of success, or I gave you my point of success money, but I want to tell you how this came about. And um, how about this? I got to take a step back before we move forward. Being a part of this pre-sale team meant that I was in one town for 90 days, only 90 days. And then once we had sold enough memberships for that gym to open with the cash flow that it needed for the expectation of opening, then me and the pre-sale team went to another town, to another gym. So I was constantly moving. And so coming to Chicago or Buffalo Grove was a 90-day assignment. I worked out of a trailer because the gym wasn't open. But I started to connect with and interact with a lot of the women in the community. It was a women's only gym. And in fact, one of them is still a friend today, Joanne. They would come to the trailer to sign up, and they were really into fitness, and they bring their kids. And so I started meeting like their little kids. And then all of a sudden, some of these women would start coming to visit me and bring me dinner because I never ate, or, oh my God, I came to Chicago from Atlanta, not from Atlanta, but from a small town in Georgia, and doing a 90-day pre-sale there. And I only had shorts. I only had t-shirts. And while I was in Chicago, because I ended up staying for longer than 90 days, winter came. So I didn't have a coat. I didn't have a hat. I didn't have money to buy any of these things. I was still below poverty level. And so these women started bringing me things to wear, little hats and coats, and it meant so much to me. And at some point, one of the women, and then multiple, started saying to me, "Oh my gosh, Trish, you need to go and get into outside sales. You need to get into outside sales and work for a company here in Chicago, like a pharmaceutical company, medical supply company, health insurance company." Those were really the three. And I know somebody there, my husband or my friend or, my sister or whoever works at Baxter or Medco or Aetna or Abbott, all these companies that were headquartered or, had headquarters in Chicago. So I was like, there's something outside of this 90-day pre-sale traveling team. Again, I have no health insurance. I'm paid hourly. I live out of a Motel 6. I have a daily stipend for food, and I didn't know nutrition back then, and so I ate fast food. Kentucky Fried Chicken was my favorite. I had a beat up car that actually that broke down in the most embarrassing way, and I'll try to remember to tell that story later. And when these women were saying to me, "I see more in you, Trish, than you even see in yourself." Now, don't get me wrong. Gold's Gym and American Club Systems, to this day, I say, was the best job in the world because I learned how to build trust in myself and inspire the trust of others along that journey. I would not have the professional success I have today without that. And it was time for me to move forward.